Moderation activity is now hidden. Okay. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Go away.
What are you doing, babe?
I'm adjusting the camera. What are you doing?
Oh, this light is horrible.
Yeah, see, I told you.
You need to go turn the light on.
What?
Go turn the light on.
Is that going to help?
I think so.
Does that help?
Tiny bit.
Tiny bit. You really need like either. Wow.
Oh. Whoa, that helped a lot.
Look at that goddamn window.
Except for now, I think you need to make these point so they're not reflecting right into the mirror.
Maybe I could get rid of those.
Oh yeah, I think it's actually those two.
Is that better or worse?
Oh, that's good. Well, it's not studio, but
Well, then I can redirect those. Which ones?
no, I think it's fine with them off.
Okay.
It's cozier.
More horrific. See? Reminded me about the curtains, but that's part of your lighting control.
Well, I know, but that's why we're supposed to put the rails up for the mirrors to slide around.
That's your job.
No, it's my dad's job.
Tell him to get to it, or I'm gonna do it.
Okay, if you're gonna do it, then I don't think there's a.
I mean, there's a deadline, but like.
Hey guys, it's the Holler Horror Hour. I'm Benzie Holler.
I'm Devin Holler.
Holler. Yesterday we saw Evil Dead Rise. We're gonna try and watch all the Evil Dead movies leading up to it and stuff, but we got busy like people do, even though we're both unemployed freaks. So we just watched the new movie, but we have seen the other Evil Dead movies. I've at least seen Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 many, many, many times. I've only watched Army of Darkness 1.5 times. And then we also watched Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
The first remake they did of Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah, and the first. I only watched that once in theaters, though. I don't have a ton of memory of that, except that I liked it.
I can't remember if I ever watched that in theaters, actually, or if I did just see it on TV. I've seen it. I think I've seen it at least twice. But then Evil Dead, I know I've seen like at least twice because I saw it once just because this is the first movie in the series, and then once when we went and saw the anniversary showing at the Redford. Evil Dead 2 I've seen a couple times. I do enjoy that one a little bit better than Evil Dead 1. And then Army of Darkness was actually the one that introduced me to the whole franchise.
Really?
I saw that before all the other ones. And so, and that really that really kind of gave me a skewed perception of how the first two were going to be, because those first two movies are a lot more horrific and have a lot more horror elements to them.
Yeah, I don't even consider Army of Darkness is more like a fantasy movie than a.
It's almost like a dark comedy, because like you still have parts where like people get like are straight up getting ripped to shreds and everything.
Yeah.
Even if it's done in somewhat of a corny, cheesy way, but you'll have like somebody like screaming for their life and then a blood fountain and everything. But Yeah, it's definitely much more comedic, and Ash is much more in an element of like the ultimate badass
Yeah.
in Army of Darkness than in the other ones.
Well, I will say I have pretty horrible media memory, so even if I've seen these movies a bunch of times, Devin will remember more.
You've probably forgotten what Evil Dead Rise already.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, and then we've also seen all of Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good, like, good continuation of the whole story.
But Evil Dead Rise, my brother's already seen it twice.
Twice?
He went to it Thursday and yesterday.
What a suck up.
We've only seen it once, so we're not as cool as him.
Well, I'm going to see it 3 times then. That'll show him.
He might see it more times. Because I'm sure he's going to make a YouTube video on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Part of how our podcast was inspired was watching my brother's horror movie analysis YouTube videos, and we disagreed with enough stuff that he said that we were like, we're going to talk about horror, and we're older. We got 10 extra years of watching horror movies, so...
Yeah, I didn't really want to bring that up just because it makes us sound a lot more vindictive than what we actually are, I think.
Oh, no, I think my brother's... I love him, and I think he's super fucking cool. And I think it's really cool. He makes horror short films and talks about horror on his YouTube channel called 4+. So,
yeah. So go watch him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that did kind of, I think that was kind of one of the spurs that kind of drove us to this podcast.
Well, especially he made a video about body horror, and I think talked about Evil Dead. And
he didn't talk, I don't remember if he talked about body horror or Evil Dead specifically, but he talked about, like, he brought up the zombie genre, and somewhat by extension, you can maybe imply that Evil Dead was encompassed in that.
Maybe. Anyways, enough about that.
Enough about the enemy.
No. We're friends.
In any event, we saw Evil Dead Rise.
Yes. What would you rate it?
Rate it?
Out of 10.
I mean, in terms of what? I actually have, this is a side topic, but I actually have heard in the past that there was a video game reviewer who, like, got asked once why he doesn't give 1 through 5 ratings, follow that system, and he said, like, because you're not really accurately breaking down.
Let's try to look at the camera more instead of each other. You're
not really breaking down what made it good, what made it bad, and the nuances by just giving it a point system or a number system or anything like that. Because there's certainly some movies that are, compared to all the other movies or compared to other movies in their genre, I wouldn't rank them that high, but I'd still recommend them to go watch.
Yeah.
Like, how do you rate a movie like The Room, or Troll 2? Like,
yeah.
Those are movies that are objectively dog shit, but you should definitely go watch them.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like usually for me, it's like if something isn't a 10, it's pretty hard to come up with a different number. Like, watched Arrival, and I remember I was like, 10 out of 10 movie, But like anything that's in the 5 to 9 range is like hard to decide on.
Well, and I watched Arrival, and I thought it was a well-made film, but I didn't.
Oh wait, is that the Amy Adams one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they communicate with the aliens, and they can see into the future and the past because they have this alien language.
Yeah. Contact is the one I didn't like.
Yeah.
But I liked the book.
Well, I didn't care that much for Arrival. It's a well-made film. I just didn't think it was that good.
It's because you didn't care about the OA.
Maybe. But that was also like,
Did you see the twist
for the OA?
for Arrival?
For Arrival? I saw the whole movie.
No, I meant because you're like a twist guesser. Like when we watch Predestination, you guess the twist like 10 minutes into the freaking movie.
Well, I mean, Arrival, no, I didn't guess the twist that, like, the language...
Well, don't give the twist right now.
It's like a 20-year-old movie now. If you haven't seen it at this point...
There's no reason to mention the twist. Back to Evil Dead. I liked Evil Dead Rise. I had fun.
Can recommend.
Yeah. I was a little weirded out in the beginning that there were so many children. Yeah.
This actually brought up a discussion with me and a friend who watched it with us, because he was surprised that he thought that with so many children, it was just going to be kind of a weird movie with of protecting these children and avoiding mom the whole time. And so he was surprised when, like, they fucking picked off those children.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Oh, we're fully discussing it. So this is a spoiler full video.
For Evil Dead, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that brought up the discussion for me about, because I've kind of that's kind of been something that stood out to me with other movies in the past and how they've evolved and what they'll do for movies. Because, like, I think, and I don't know, there are exceptions to this for the most part, but in general, like, even in horror movies, like, the little children can make it to the end of the movie. I mean, obviously, you haven't seen this, but you'll probably be able to figure it out when you watch Night of the Living Dead. But, like, little girl dies in that one.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, one of the earliest movies I saw where they just fucking... No, the little children don't escape here. Everybody gets brutally murdered here.
Yeah.
Was Alien versus Predator Requiem. So that was the sequel to Alien versus Predator. And it's not a very good movie, but it is quite, like, shocking some of the extents they go to, where, like, right off the bat, they just kill this little boy and his dad. Kill them both together. And then, like, later on in that movie, there's a scene where fucking alien re-impregnates, like, a room, an ICU full of, like, pregnant women, just fucking, like, implants a new alien in each of them, and like it eats the baby in each of them, and then chest bursts out of them.
Wow. So
it just gets, like, super, like, oh boy, the humanity. So having seen bits like that from earlier movies, where horror movies have certainly gotten a lot more brutal over the years, I wasn't all that surprised that they picked off the children. I was
surprised. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, I was more like, okay, which of those children are going to get picked off, the first?
Well, I guess I don't know if surprise is the right word, because I knew it was an Evil Dead movie and Sam Raimi had still made it, So I didn't think, like, 3 kids are going to make it out,
Yeah, four survivors is way too many.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it was in the beginning that did kind of make me like, I don't know how I feel about this, all these kids. But they did a good job with it. I felt the very first scene being like a setup or whatever.
Yeah.
Like for me, I felt like they did that to be like, this is definitely gonna be a fucking Evil Dead movie. Don't worry. And
Yeah.
then going into like normal movie setup, I did feel, even though it was like fun and felt kind of like fan servicey, you know, and as a fan, like I felt serviced. It it did also feel like it took away for me from the like, this is its own really cool, like this would have been a really good movie even without that scene.
There was a lot of that in the movie too that brought up questions for me of how exactly Sam Raimi, or I guess, because I think Sam Raimi largely still maintains control over the Evil Dead. Like nothing happens in the Evil Dead universe without him giving the green light for it, I think.
Yeah.
Or I guess I'm assuming. I haven't looked too deep into that. But he was like an executive producer on this one. He was a producer on the other remake. I don't know if he directed like Army of Darkness or probably not all of Ash versus the Evil Dead, but he was very much involved in all those projects.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, even with that though, I'm sure there's like, just like what happened to the Matrix, like producers in the room like, but what if people don't get it? You know, like,
yeah, other producers. Yeah, and there is that possibility, but I mean, I thought the last remake they did was really good. I thought this remake was really good. But some of the things that they do and that they say in this one definitely made me wonder if there is some plan or some notion as to how all of the movies kind of tie in together. Because there are just things there where there's obvious signs that they don't quite trip over any of Ash's shenanigans. They don't necessarily contradict any of the other films or like retcon the other films. Like they all kind of playing together. Even this movie, they kind of mentioned that they've got the old recording again, and they kind of mentioned that, oh, this is volume 3 of the Necronomicon, or they don't actually call it the Necronomicon, but they call it the Book of the Dead. So, uh, so that would imply to me that there's some notion of like, oh, those other movies, like Ash's adventures were with were with volume 1, and that first remake was with volume 2.
Did they say volume 2 in that one?
I don't remember if they said volume 2 in that one, but like this one, I think they did say like volume 3.
I didn't catch that. But.
And maybe I misheard.
Yeah, I thought they were just saying it was the third record of the 3 records.
So, Bruce Campbell does make a cameo in the movie.
Oh?
Do you know where it is?
He's the voice of the records?
Well, he's a voice on the records.
Oh, he does the chanting?
No. You remember when the priest is announcing like we have found the Book of the Dead and we want to translate it. There's a bunch of voices, yelling like an angry mob, like, no, don't do that. He's one of the voices that yells out, it's called the Book of the Dead for a reason.
Oh, that's funny.
Apparently, I don't remember if I read that it was the director or one of the, I think it's the director, like, wanted Bruce Campbell to have a teeny tiny cameo there. And I guess in he said that he imagined that was actually Ash, like, yelling, like, don't do it.
That's funny. I love that.
Yeah.
I will say I was a little disappointed because I thought I was gonna get a cool like Evil Dead Necronomicon chant like remix since the kid was like a DJ doing stuff.
Oh
I thought he
yeah.
was gonna be able to do something cool with it. But
This is a serious movie. We take things seriously.
no.
Like both the remakes have very much gone back to, I think, formula with Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, where they do try and take things pretty seriously.
Yeah.
Like these are definitely horror movies, not like comedies.
I guess even if like the remix thing could have been too silly, but I think it would have been a realistic reaction for the boy to be like to at least comment like, "Oh, this is gonna be a sick fucking intro."
I think, and that might have actually played better too.
Because he was like afraid immediately. I wanted him to be more excited by this like weird fucking thing he could put into his music.
I think that would have worked better too as more of a motivation for like why the records, kid? Like, that would have played in better than just like, well, maybe we could sell these because mom needs money, and then it'd be more of like a maybe if they'd have given him more of a goth vibe too.
He only said that about the book, not about the records.
Well, but
I got the vibe that he chose the records for his music stuff.
Yeah.
But I do agree if he was like a little bit more goth, they could have played him being like more excited about what was on the records. And that's what I thought too, is like if I found like this freaky book full of like paintings of horror scenes,
Yeah.
I would be like, whoa, look at this really fucking cool weird thing I found. Not like,
well, and that would be
what the like this is disgusting, like
yeah.
And I do feel like he could have been the character that thought it was more cool, and then other characters could be like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, I thought that would have been that I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, I felt like they were all too scared too fast. But
yeah, and I guess it's the Necronomicon, so I guess there's some implication there that like you can sense the evil off of it, but I don't know. I think it would be cool to play something where or maybe a little more grounded, to play something where we're so far removed with our modern society and everything that like we don't even notice evil stuff like that, the evil off of stuff like that anymore. We don't, because like I actually thought they did do a fun bit in that first scene. The first scene, they kind of start off in the woods, like it's we're doing cabin in the woods again. But and they start off with like the demon, kind of ethereal, floating around, traveling through the forest, like hunting for victims. And then it turns out to be like just a drone buzzing around.
Yeah.
And then, shenanigans kind of ensue elsewhere that had nothing to do with the cabin or anything that really the person with the drone had anything to do with. But and then when they shifted it over to where the main story takes place, which is in an old broken down hotel,
apartment complex.
Oh yeah, apartment complex. You're right. I was thinking of like what was it, season 4 of American Horror Story, season 5 of American Horror Story in the hotel. Whatever, the one of the seasons of American Horror Story. But yeah, it's taking place like in a broken down hotel in LA. Like I thought that would have been that I think would have played a little bit better and more groundedly than like, oh, we still sense the evil from all of this stuff, and we can
Was it in LA?
yeah, or not, maybe not LA, but it was in California. I
Oh,
think
okay.
she mentioned that the sister mentioned that uh, that she got an Uber from LAX.
Oh, okay.
Should we maybe do a general like rundown of what happens in the movie actually?
No, because when I hate when they do that in videos, because it's like I'm only watching this after I've watched the movie, so I know everything that happened.
All right.
Um.
Anyway, yeah, I think especially in like a big city with modern people doing very modern things, I think it would have been maybe a good idea to not have everybody get so afraid of this so quickly.
Yeah.
The arrogance of man.
Man, that mom did such a good job as a Deadite. She was absolutely incredible.
I figure out where I recognized her from. She was on Vikings.
Oh, I never watched that show.
Oh, that's a good show.
Yeah. She had a really good face.
Yeah.
Like even before she turned, I was like, oh, she has like a really like interesting looking face,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it stands out for sure. So
yeah, she's pretty good and pretty like stunning. And when she like turns into a deadite, she's still like she fucking killed it. Like she was on fire.
I did like the dynamic of the sister who's like, I'm the first woman like in my field to get this job,
Right.
And then the family is like fucking groupie.
Yeah.
Like that's felt so real, And like you can like love your family and then it's still like, oh yeah, this is why I don't want to spend time with you.
Well, I think that's like actually, now that you mentioned that, that is something that was kind of interesting about the movie, because I remember in the first remake they did, they went a little more in depth into various like conflicts that everybody has with each other and around each other, and you know who all these people are and what the dynamics are. And in this one, they didn't really lay out all of that or dig into that. Like they didn't really go any farther into, her being called a groupie, other than just her overhearing from the neighbor kind of spilling that like, oh yeah, you're the groupie sister.
Yeah. Well, they did bring it up a bunch of times, but
well, like but as like the dead, as like a deadite though.
Yeah.
They didn't really like dig into any of it as normal people talking about like problems or feelings. They kind of just laid the foundation that like, okay, there's a lot of like tension and problems among a lot of these people. Like you kind of got a sense that between the sister and the older sister and the brother, Bridget and Danny, that there was some like power dynamics over like who's the more in charge sibling.
Yeah.
I got a sense of. And then with
okay, but that apartment was way too big for their low social class. I guess I know I know that it was like falling apart and they had to move out soon, But like that kid Danny had like a whole fucking room DJ setup.
I guess
in California.
I guess I wasn't quite clear on what exactly their economic class was.
Yeah.
So
because I guess the like husband just left or whatever, so we have no clue like how much money they
Well,
But I did think the space seemed like very large.
well, and I didn't exactly get the sense that I wasn't quite clear on what exactly the mom did for a living either. Like we saw her, it looked like she was like soldering some stuff, but I wasn't quite sure. Like, okay, what exactly does she do?
I
Is
thought
she
only the sister did that. Because that's what the sister does professionally.
well, the mom in the opening scene was doing something. What was she doing?
Because I remember the sister, I can't remember her freaking name, the character's name.
Beth.
Beth.
Beth is the sister, and Ellie is the mom.
Because Beth,
I don't remember the little girl's
Beth
name.
only
She's just a
soldered
little
once they
girl.
were like, we don't have power to run this turntable, and then she was like, I can handle that. And
Well, they could both know how to solder.
yeah, I guess I just don't remember the mom soldering.
I thought she was doing something with that in like the opening scene. I'd even throw out that like where'd Beth get the soldering iron?
Good point. You probably remember better than I do.
I don't know. Maybe I misremembered or mistook what mom was doing. But I do remember. I do remember thinking like with that opening scene, like, oh, somebody's gonna get stabbed with that soldering iron.
I did think the littlest girl did a great job acting.
Yeah.
And being covered in freaking blood.
Yeah. I did feel like she should have died too. So if you're gonna kill them off, kill all three of them off.
Or I thought that, or she should have been the only one to get away. There's only one final girl, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
only one survivor.
yeah.
Like Ash was the only survivor from his ordeals. So, and even in like the first remake, like one survivor. Yeah, I think I would have preferred that too.
Yeah. So, and also the tinier the child, the creepier the deadite. You know? Like, oh my god, walking in when the child sister, what are these characters' names, please? Danny and Bridget.
Bridget.
When Bridget is like squatted on the counter, I love that.
Munching the glass.
Yeah, I didn't like the. Well, when I say I didn't like it, I was like watching that part. But I guess like I didn't find munching glass like a particularly like interesting thing for her to be doing as a deadite. But just like walking in and it's like, oh shit, like we just got the mom stuck outside and now like Bridget is turning.
Yeah.
You know, like was a good scene. Oh, and I did think when they had her swallow the glass and like a little piece like cut through her throat as she was swallowing it, that was cool.
Yeah.
I loved the Shining reference where the elevator comes down and like all the blood washes into the hallway. I was like, Shining fan, you know.
I thought it was. I love the monstrosity they make too out of all of them.
Oh yeah, the creature. It reminded me a lot of that video game Inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely was. I think it was probably inspired by other various creatures that have existed throughout, but I thought it was like a good place to take like all these deadites, just making something like horrific to look at.
When it was interesting, I think this was the only movie that did that thing where the book is like flipping through its pages, like choosing what it's about to inflict on someone.
Yeah.
Right? I thought that was a cool visualization.
Yeah, I did too. I thought
Yeah.
it was a good follow-on of like you're not in control of this. Like the book is doing whatever it wants.
Yeah, well, and also it felt like it gave more conscious. It made the book like more of a conscious character than I feel like it's been in other movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. then what?
And then what? Let me get more coffee.
You're just gonna leave me here?
Yeah. I mean, when the Deadites show up, I'm not sticking around. Goodbye. I don't need to outrun them. I just need to outrun you.
I love doing this podcast with you, baby.
I love doing it with you too. So maybe this was just somewhat of a flaw in the directing or the way they had the story play out, but I was also really curious about how, if these are the same Deadites from the other movies, though, or if these are stronger, more powerful Deadites, because even in so like obviously all the movies with Ash, Deadites are perfectly like fightable and like can be killed. You know, they can be chopped up, you know, shot, you know, blasted to smithereens, and they can be pretty effectively put down doing that. But what was it?
Am I remembering wrong? I thought Deadites could always come back over and over again.
They can come back a lot, but like they've kind of established. Maybe I'd have to rewatch Evil Dead 2 to like kind of reassess like what exactly did Ash do with his girlfriend in that movie? Because I don't remember exactly. I know like I think he like knocks her head off at one point to he knocks her head off at one point, and then she comes back and like starts doing this like creepy dance with her head, and then I think he finally puts her down permanently by completely dismembering her and like I think burying the remains or something.
So what Deadite got dismembered that?
Well, because in the movie, in the recordings, he basically says that he dismembered the Deadites, and the limbs, you know, they still like came back to get him, and dismembering didn't work. Like I think from what I remember in Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and you know, Ash versus the Evil Dead, you could definitely chop them up, cut them up, shoot them. Like Ash certainly had methods of being able to fight back and put them down. Okay, so that's like one class. And then the first remake that was done, they could definitely like, once somebody became a Deadite, they could definitely kill that person by shooting. Like that's kind of a thing throughout the movie, that you know they're left with like defending themselves against the Deadites, and like there's even one like really creepy scene where a guy like blasts off his girlfriend's arm, and the demon like leaves her body at that point and leaves her to kind of just bleed to death, you know, in her own body. But like throughout that movie, they were definitely able to fight off the other Deadites one by one as they came about. So in this one, she's able to get they get stabbed through the head. They get shot pretty hard at one point, and then they are finally able to, it seems, destroy the monstrosity by like sticking it in a wood chipper. Where I guess I just assumed that the pieces are small enough at that point where there's not much they can do. But it raised a question for me of are these different Deadites that are just tougher and stronger, or are there just other ways in which that, like, if they'd have been shot in the head and their head completely destroyed or something, then that would have done it. But like when she got shot by that first shotgun blast, it didn't seem to do anything really.
Yeah.
So it kind of raised the question for me of like, okay, are these just different Deadites that like you really can't do anything with them? They're pretty much unstoppable.
I don't know. I didn't notice that in the movie myself. So I did wonder, because like the record never got played backwards, like are they? I know you talked about like pulling all the things together. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think this movie was a setup for another one or two movies that's going to escalate like John Wick style to where like the world is full of Deadites or something.
So what I've read is that originally there were plans to make like an Evil Dead universe, and this was a long time ago. Like after the first remake was done, there were plans that eventually got scrapped for whatever reason. It's not clear. It just never came together, maybe, to do another follow-on to that first remake, and then do another Army of Darkness movie or Evil Dead 4 movie, and then a seventh one where they tie them all together. And then but that just kind of never came about. And latest what I read, because I read the Wikipedia for Evil Dead, and some of this got mentioned there. And currently the plans are that Sam Raimi is going to work with Yvonne Raimi, their brothers, and I think they're trying to put together, like, not necessarily like tie everything together, but kind of put together an Evil Dead Bible so that future directors and producers will kind of have an understanding of what the rules of Evil Dead are and how everything works.
I don't want anyone else to touch it. That sounds horrible.
What if they do a good job?
I don't trust them. No, I am a person that I feel like even if in a future iteration someone makes something that sucks, it like doesn't, for me, it doesn't take away from my love of the original thing.
Yeah.
But I guess like when I see an Evil Dead thing, I know like Sam Raimi is making it so far in the history of my life, So like the idea of it getting passed to someone else is kind of scary to me.
Well,
even like Bruce Campbell not being in this movie, like I know he had that line, but I was like, where's his cameo? Like even at the other one, it was like at the end of the credits, it was just him saying like "groovy baby," like that was like Bruce Campbell's still like here,
Yeah.
I guess I'm sure it's just like aging. Like regular fears like all people get as they like age and stuff changes, but it's like it's not Evil Dead if there's no Sam Raimi. It's not Evil Dead if there's no Bruce Campbell, like.
Well, it's kind of a matter of, for me, it's kind of a matter of who do I, things that I associate with Evil Dead that I'm expecting to see. So like I'm expecting to see Ash show up for Evil Dead. With Sam Raimi, it's more a matter of like how do I trust the product if like the guy who's been responsible for all of the ones that I care about like isn't associated with it anymore. Like how do I know I can trust whoever's making this now? Like am I getting sold something that's really just Evil Dead in name only?
Yeah, like I don't want to ever see an interview of someone who directed Evil Dead pull a fucking J.J. Abrams and be like, well, I never really liked Star Trek. And it's like, that's not what he sounded like in the interview at all. But it's like, how fucking dare you make a Star Trek movie if you don't like Star Trek? Like...
Yeah.
The only people allowed to make Evil Dead movies are ones who, like, deeply love Evil Dead, So,
yeah.
I guess... I trust that Sam Raimi deeply loves Evil Dead. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the creature design was very interesting in this one too.
For sure.
Because So I just looked back at a remake, at a scene from the remake. That's
the other remake.
Yeah, where it's got the what is it? It does have a scene with like a deadite attacking somebody, and like in those ones, they don't quite look so deadited out. Like the deadites in this movie, this Evil Dead Rise, they look a lot more almost like throwbacks.
They felt like deadites. Even though it was a throwback, though, it didn't feel like cheesy.
No,
it felt fucking scary. Like it was hard to look at.
Yeah, they felt like more of a modern throwback to the original Deadites, like a realistic design on what a modern Deadite would look like with modern effects. They didn't just look like her the mom's skin was all pale, like cuts didn't just randomly show up, but like eyes went blue and everything, and she still looked like mom, just like a lot of it was in the demeanor, but some of the makeup also gave it a throwback feel. Whereas in the previous one, they didn't necessarily none of the deadites actually looked dead necessarily. They just kind of they deform themselves in various ways and attack, and I think their eyes changed color in that one as well, but like it wasn't like dead eyes. It was like they turned yellow or something.
I do feel like the deadites weren't as mean as the old movies, like, or as like playful or something. Like I did.
What do you mean?
Okay, I'm trying to think.
Do you want to pick some examples of what do you mean?
Well, I know, but I'm so bad at remembering stuff. But I feel like, and maybe it's because the Deadites like have a long time relationship with Ash. I'm thinking, I guess, more of like Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Like the Deadites, like mock Ash a lot.
Yeah.
And even though they did say some mean things, I didn't feel like they were as like openly mocking energy, as much like playful mocking energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I'm just like not remembering things.
Well, I think some of the playful mocking might go to like, they ham it up quite a bit for like Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of more of a dark comedy.
Yeah. Well, and is that in this universe? Like I want to know what is canon.
Well, I guess that's what I meant when like I'm really curious what they imagine or how Sam Raimi imagines all of these things fit together.
Yeah.
Like, are they part of the same universe? Are they totally separate universes? Are they all going on at sort of the same time or different events of the Necronomicon or something?
Yeah.
Like, I am curious about that also. Um, but actually, now that you point that out, yeah, in the first evil, I don't remember the first Evil Dead how the Deadites actually interacted with Ash, but it seemed like they definitely had a different demeanor. Like in the very first movie, you could tell that like somebody had become a Deadite because like she just her face obviously changed, but like she just kept laughing, and that for the most part that seemed to be all she did, and then she'd just attack Ash. And then in the second one, the girlfriend would obviously like play at him with like, "Oh, Ash, why don't you come out and give me a kiss and everything?"
Yeah. Oh my god, when the mom had those scissors in her mouth and they like came out of her mouth and like had her lip fucking cut open like that.
Was that in her mouth? I thought that went like up through her nose.
Well, it had two blades,
Oh yeah,
but it like cut this part,
yeah.
Oh my god. But then she fucking left the scissors in her. I was like, you dumb bitch. I do think, I know we're doing a podcast on this right now, but I do think we need to rewatch all of them together to
Oh
have
yeah,
a better
I
conversation
agree.
about it. Which Alalia, who was supposed to see Evil Dead Rise with us, has never seen the old Evil Dead movies.
Oh,
So she might be a fun person. And she like studies horror in like an academic way.
oh, that's cool.
So I do think it would be really fun if we could watch them all with her and have her on the podcast.
Yeah, set up a time. I think we should.
I am going to Detroit for a week, so when I get back, hopefully we can figure something out. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, text her, set up a date.
Okay. Well, we don't really have a space to watch a bunch of movies with someone, though.
I mean, we can move. We can solve that. That is a very solvable problem.
Okay.
Okay. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but the demeanor of and obviously like for the Ash movies, the Deadites get more and more like towards the mocking side and less on the vicious side. And then like the first remake, I don't remember like I thought the mockery was quite a bit more sparing in those movies than in like the Ash movies. They definitely seem a lot more serious in that original remake or that first remake. I mean, one of the scenes, the Deadite just straight up like attacks and like doesn't do anything except like I have my one mission is to kill.
Yeah.
To kill, hurt, and maim right now. And so the mockery is a bit more sparing, whereas in this one, pretty much all of the Deadites are like smiling creepily.
Yeah.
And that's another thing for the mom. Like that fucking smile was creepy as shit.
She put the horror movie smile to shame.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the Deadites in this one hit a good medium between like those two, where they were vicious murderous monsters, but they would still like try and like mock and play on your mind.
When I was Googling stuff and I saw that Sam Raimi and the guy who made Barbarian are working on a project together, I fucking had a heart attack. I was like so excited.
Mama.
I hope you're ready. I hope they put Justin Long in the movie.
What about Justin Long and William Dafoe?
Sure. I don't see it. I guess. I mean, I love William Dafoe, but I guess I don't see him in this universe. I think he would do great if he was. But
That's why.
Mm.
You wouldn't see him come, and all of a sudden, oh, and William Dafoe's here.
He's going to be in a new horror movie too, right? Didn't I say I saw something like that recently?
Yeah, it's
a 2023 remake of something.
a remake?
Or maybe not a remake.
I thought you said it was going to be just him.
Come on, giant penis man. I can't remember. Well, there's that movie Inside with just him, but there was a new movie he was going to do. Where did I see that?
I think of all the Evil Dead movies.
Nosferatu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that'll be cool.
And Bill Skarsgård?
In Nosferatu?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Sam Raimi one?
Wait, why would that be Sam Raimi?
I don't know. Why would it not?
Because he's working on a different project with
Well, I was asking, is that the project?
No.
Wait, who's Skarsgård playing?
I don't know.
Is it Renfield?
Probably. Skarsgård would make a great Renfield.
Yeah. Actually, he might make a good Jonathan Harker too, but I think I'd like to see him as Renfield.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Life is good. Oh my god, I went to a party, a goddess party last night, and none of them had seen Midsummer. And I was like, God.
See? Of course, I'm happy about that because that means there's plenty of other people who will get into the bear suit just fine, so I don't have to.
Yes. Yeah, for my Midsummer party. So people don't want to wear a bear suit to my Midsummer party.
I don't want to wear a bear suit to your Midsummer party.
I just don't understand.
You didn't? Did you ask anyone else?
No, because you're the obvious choice.
Why? Why am I the obvious choice to wear the bear suit?
It's just the obvious.
I don't want to be in the bear suit.
You're just the obvious choice.
No, I don't want to.
Oh yeah, so I made a joke about the person in the bear suit burning up, and they were like, "Oh yeah, in Arizona summer, it would be really like hot." Wearing. They were like, "There's gotta be. I bet there's a way to make it more comfortable." And I was like,
"Don't worry. Yeah, that won't be a problem for long."
Oh, it was funny.
We'll set up a nice cool shed for you to sit in.
I was just making jokes only for myself at that point. It was great. So.
And that's why I'm not getting in the bear suit.
Okay. We will be rewatching all of Evil Dead and getting back to you guys.
We're going to start with the first one, right? How are we going to handle Ash versus the Evil Dead?
This is what I'm thinking. Let's look up how many hours it is, and let's do one of those like 24-hour live stream events where we like
react.
I don't know. Yeah. And talk about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be a good idea. That could be fun.
And we could have other people join. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, all 0 of you. We're having a great time. And thanks, Devin, for figuring out to put the mirror in front of the window. And thanks to me for being me.
Good job.
And we have to leave in like half an hour to the airport. So I I'm really excited that we took the time to do this morning, though.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. Ciao.
Me too.